that was another really tough one out the way. You know, the current picture is Liverpool are sitting pretty. It's another game ticked off. They get to bounce into this one still feeling really, really confident.
Yeah, I can't understand Carragher's take on that, to be honest. I feel like this is the thing that, you know, I don't want to say pundits because I don't want to make out like it's like a conspiracy against Liverpool or anything, but I feel like people have been trying to, you know, say, oh, you know, it's coming for Liverpool, this slip up is coming, the blip's coming kind of thing, and yet to, you know, so far it's not come. Actually, what you've seen is, you know, exactly like, you know, Slaughter's been able to control the majority of games that we've been involved in, or at least if not having complete control over a game, keeping teams at arm's length. And I think, you know, you have to ride your luck at times, and Liverpool did ride the luck at times against Bournemouth at the weekend. I think the one where is it Tavernier hits it off the post and like Kluivert misses. Kluivert's, you know, a player in good form. I think most players in good form, most forwards in good form especially, score that goal 9 times out of 10 where you get away with the 1 in 10 where he doesn't. But that also happens, and I think like there's a big thing here where good teams create good luck, but they also force other teams into bad luck. And that might sound mad and maybe a bit tinfoil hat, given that I'm talking about conspiracies against Liverpool. It might feel like it's a bit of a sort of almost conspiracy as to why Liverpool are doing so well. But I think I was at pains to say this before we were going into the Bournemouth game as well, that, you know, we were all bigging the Bournemouth game up to be, you know, huge and bigging them up and rightly so, because their form going into that game had been brilliant, and they looked like such a good side, as a side who could push on for Europe and all those kinds of things. But then, like the thing I kept saying was, well, imagine what they think about Liverpool. Like Iraola got asked a question after they battered Forest, which had nothing to do with Liverpool, and he's like, yeah, we're in a spell of playing really good teams. It's about how good Forest have been. He's like, we're in a spell of playing really good teams. We've got Liverpool to come as well, and that's like, we have to realise that we are also like a big sort of scalp in this. So it's not just, oh, we're coming against Bournemouth and Bournemouth are that good. If you are somebody like Kluivert, if you are, you know, one of those Bournemouth players, you're thinking, God, if a chance falls to me today, I have to make sure I don't snatch it in. I have to make sure I really get behind it. And, you know, it's Liverpool. We have to really be cute about how we take our chances. So then when the chance does fall, you're putting that extra bit of pressure on yourself, and maybe then you do fluffy lines because you're putting an extra bit of pressure on yourself, because you're going, oh, it's Liverpool and they control games and they don't give you very many opportunities. So I'm not really buying for a second that Liverpool are in any way lucky, you know, in a sort of holistic sense to be getting through this run of form. Yes, lucky in moments. All football teams are lucky in moments. Arsenal absolutely battered City at the weekend, and we're still pretty lucky in moments. So, yeah, I'm feeling confident going into this one because of the amount of control we have over games, coming up against a team who generally, besides probably the one sort of exception to this rule being that first leg, are a team who don't look like they could control games if you gave them every single hour under the sun to do so.
Just on the Bournemouth point, Mike, I never got to do the show leading into Bournemouth. It was just a scheduling issue, my end really, so couldn't quite make it work. So never got to kind of really get into the nuts and bolts around them. But you're never going to have it your own way with a team like that. And it looked to me like Liverpool completely understood the assignments going into Bournemouth. You're going to have to ride your luck a little bit. You're going to have probably a ropey 5-10 here and there, because they are the type of team that will just put you under pressure. But ultimately, you stay strong. Liverpool did. Don't concede a goal. This is a team who'd scored 9 in the previous 2 matches. I think Liverpool come out of that weekend with a ton of credit.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing with the slot side is what we're seeing with some of Jurgen's best sides, is they can suffer in games well enough and get through it well enough, and then it feels like this slot side, as Josh was pointing out there, the control. It just means like, oh yeah, sounds. We'll take 5 here. We've got a goalie who'll just save pretty much anything that he can, because it's a lot. He makes a couple of good saves. Bournemouth will press. Yeah, they're at home. They're going to have some of the ball. So what? What are we going to do when we get it back? And what's going to dishearten them? And it happens. You know, Salah gets the ball, cuts in, makes it 2-0 at a pretty crucial time of the game where it could have been 1-1. Yeah, coulds and shoulds are all nice, but it's when the ball's in the net is when it counts, and that's what we did really well, I thought, and went down the other end, took the game away from them. Good football side, but even when you come up against some bad ones, they're going to get minutes and spells, aren't they, where, you know, it's a game of 90 minutes, people will have chances. I don't think I've seen Liverpool this season be outplayed for the whole game or the majority of the game and deservedly lose on you can count it on one hand. I probably don't think we deserve to get much out of the Forest game where they beat us earlier in the season. A point would have been probably fair on the reflection, maybe, but I don't think we can argue with it. We had to move on, learn lessons. We did, and we did it incredibly well. And now we're into this sort of, January, February now, where games are coming thick and fast, but they're all in different competitions. Players are getting rotated round. It's that sort of fine balance of how far can we go and how fresh can we keep everyone while doing so. We had the luxury of resting everyone at PSV, which may be huge in terms of getting a rest into people there if we do go on and beat Spurs. With that Villa game will move into February and make the schedule even busier again. But all the players will be thinking about, and the manager as well, is that's all well and good, all that coming. All that matters is this game Thursday. What's the best 11 I can get?